everyone, welcome back. It's Cassie Reyes, lactation consultant and mom, and today we're delving into a topic that is really near and dear to my heart, and unfortunately it affects many new families and often really goes underaddressed. So today we're talking about lactation and breastfeeding with postpartum preeclampsia and the effects that postpartum preeclampsia can have on lactation. This is a life-threatening condition, and I unfortunately had firsthand experience with this, and I really don't want other families to have to struggle through it. Families dealing with this condition may encounter so many unique challenges when trying to feed their babies, and I really want to explore what postpartum preeclampsia is, why it can make lactation even more difficult, and how to find the support you need to overcome these challenges. All right, so before we delve into all the details, please remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you can stay updated on these sort of discussions on the channel. All right, before we delve in, I really want everyone to understand how serious this condition is and that it can happen to anyone in any delivery, and even if you've had a normal, healthy pregnancy. So parents are usually not given enough education or warning about what to look for in the postpartum when it concerns preeclampsia, or what to do if the symptoms do pop up. So preeclampsia is a serious medical condition, and it's usually characterized by high blood pressure. It can lead to things like seizures and organ damage or even death. So it's nothing to mess around with. It does typically occur during pregnancy, and sometimes it leads to early delivery of a baby in order to protect the life of both the baby and the parent. But it can also happen postpartum, and I feel like this is the part where we know even less about it as a family going into it. So when it develops after childbirth, it's referred to as postpartum preeclampsia. If it's left untreated, this can be a life-threatening illness. So since sharing my preeclampsia story on this channel after the birth of my daughter, I've heard so many heartbreaking stories of families dealing with this condition. So I really just want to help people recognize the symptoms and get the help they need immediately. Honestly, every day I feel fortunate to be alive and around to raise my daughter. So if you experience any of the symptoms we're going to talk about, please do not wait to get help. Get help right now. The symptoms of postpartum preeclampsia can include high blood pressure, severe headaches, changes in vision. Your body can swell up and get really swollen after delivery. You can have pain in your upper right side of your body. You can just kind of feel out of it. I had a feeling of dread or impending doom, like something really bad is going to happen to you. This especially happened to me when I would try to lay down to sleep. So if you're experiencing any of these symptoms, please do not wait. Call your doctor immediately. Get evaluated right away in an emergency room. Please consider calling an ambulance if any of your symptoms are severe. All right, and let's talk about the challenges that can come up with lactation and postpartum preeclampsia. Postpartum preeclampsia can introduce some unique challenges to a lactation journey. Let's explore a few of these difficulties in greater detail. So with postpartum preeclampsia, you may need some short-term or long-term medications to manage the condition. So you're definitely going to want to talk to your healthcare provider about the medications you're on and any possible side effects or possible impact that they could have on lactation. So one big example is that many people need IV magnesium, usually for about 24 hours to control their blood pressure. And this medication can temporarily lower your milk supply. And this can be so frustrating because you may have built up a really good milk supply and then you start the magnesium and you see your milk supply tank, and it can be so frustrating. But the good news is that it usually tends to rebound once the magnesium is stopped. Something else that can be a concern with postpartum preeclampsia is that can really take a toll on your overall health, and it can really impact your ability to provide consistent care for your baby, and that includes latching and feeding your baby, especially if a separation is required due to a hospitalization or your baby needing to go to the NICU. For treatment and monitoring, you may end up needing to stay in the hospital and away from your baby for a few days, and this is one of the hardest parts. Really, it's terrible when all you want to do is be home and taking care of your new baby. The separation can make it so difficult emotionally and physically, and it can make it really hard to maintain and work on feeding and work on latching. Just all of these medical complications and the stress related to it can also affect your milk supply and can cause lots of discouragement and even more additional emotional strain. So if you find this information helpful and you want to help videos like this reach more families around the world, please consider becoming a Patreon of the channel, and I'll include a link for the video in the description down below. All right, now I want to talk about finding support. So all of this is really hard, and what kind of things can you do to overcome the challenges and continue working towards your feeding goals? Things like talking to your healthcare team and discussing the best plan of action, taking into account your postpartum preeclampsia and the compatibility of your medications with lactation and breastfeeding. Pumping, really pumping is huge. If you're unable to breastfeed directly or latch your baby directly due to your current condition or due to a separation, pumping regularly is going to be really important to help you maintain your milk supply. It's really hard. You're likely going to feel horrible. You're going to feel miserable. You're going to feel depleted, especially if you're on magnesium. It's going to be really hard to get up in the middle of the night to do those pumping sessions. But if you're able to keep pumping, you can provide your milk to your baby even when direct latching isn't able to happen. And all that extra stimulation with the pump is going to help keep your milk production up during the separation or during the time when your baby isn't latching. So you're going to want to pump anytime your baby would have been eating, so at least every 3 hours. And many hospitals have breast pumps available for you to use, or you can also bring your own. Another thing to focus on that can really help is skin-to-skin contact. So when it's safe and possible, engage in skin-to-skin contact with your baby. This bonding time can be so beneficial for both of you and can really help boost your milk supply. And then communicating with the NICU team, if your baby happens to be in the NICU, regular communication with the nurses and the NICU team can be vital. So discuss your desire to breastfeed, and they can help you establish a plan for feeding and for pumping and storing your milk and providing your milk to your baby in the safest way possible. You can also reach out to lactation consultants. So there are lactation consultants who have experience in working with families with preeclampsia and with babies who have spent time in the NICU. So if either one of these challenges is something that you're facing, reach out to someone who can offer you special advice according to your specific situation and help address some of those postpartum preeclampsia related issues like drops in milk supply or help getting your baby to latch after a period of separation. The last thing I want to talk about is coping with emotions and coping with the emotions that can come with lactation and challenges due to postpartum preeclampsia. Coping with the emotions associated with breastfeeding challenges due to postpartum preeclampsia can really be tough. So talking with your partner, talking with family members about what you're going through can be really helpful, and they may be really crucial in helping you get the help that you need. Having a little bit of self-compassion is also crucial. It's crucial to understand that what you're going through is really hard and you're doing the best that you can, and it's perfectly acceptable to seek help or choose alternative feeding methods if that's what's best for you and your baby. So if you need to give your baby donor milk or formula while you're recovering, that's why these alternatives exist. You can always work on getting back to your original feeding goals once you're starting to feel better. And lastly, please reach out to a therapist or a counselor if you're finding yourself experiencing feelings like stress, anxiety, sadness, intrusive thoughts. It's really normal to feel this way and need a little extra help dealing with it after experiencing something traumatic like postpartum preeclampsia. So don't hesitate to reach out to your healthcare providers, to local support groups, to mental health professionals. They can all help you cope during this difficult period. Your emotional well-being is extremely important, and it's a really important part of raising a healthy child. Lactation with postpartum preeclampsia can be so challenging. And your health and your baby's well-being should always come first. So make sure that you do seek medical guidance as soon as you recognize symptoms of postpartum preeclampsia. If you need to, explore alternative feeding methods. And remember that your well-being and the love and care that you provide for your child are far more critical than the specific feeding method that your baby ends up having. So I hope that this video is helpful to you. I hope for those of you who are facing postpartum preeclampsia and challenges related to hospitalization and being separated from your baby, find this information encouraging and comforting. And if you have any questions or personal experiences you want to share, please remember to share down below. It always helps the whole community when you share your experiences. And if you want to learn more about my personal battle with preeclampsia, I do have a video specifically about this where I share my rehospitalization experience. And as always, don't forget to subscribe and like the channel and give the video a like, hit the bell so you're notified when I post more videos like this. And I will see you guys all soon. Remember, don't quit on your worst day. Bye.